Hey everyone. Today we're going to be putting in the AdMob plugin for Unity to run on your Android. We're kind of picking up from where we left off with the last one, which was importing Google Play game services. The reason we're doing this is because AdMobs actually requires the same jar files as that does. So if you followed the last tutorial, you're in the perfect place to do this. If you have Google Play game services running from any other tutorial, you should be okay, though keep in mind you need to be kind of up to date with the jar file. So if you're using Physon's old one, this plugin won't mix well with it. Um, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come to the GitHub page for it here, which is in the description of the video, and we're going to download the Unity package. So we just click on the Google AdMob.unity package, click raw, it'll open a download screen, download it, click it, import everything. So as you can see, we're in our previous project here. We have the Google Play stuff already imported. Everything's ready to go. And everything's important just fine. So what we need to do now is we need to edit our app manifest. So this is kind of tricky, but it's also not, because we're basically given the file. But if you've never done it, it can trip you up. So Unity basically builds an app manifest into every Android app by default. So we're going to just use theirs as a template. So to get that, you go to My Computer, you double click wherever you have Unity installed. So we go Program Files, Unity, Editor, I think it's Data, Playback Engines, Android Player, and there's the app manifest. So the app manifest needs to go into Plugins, Android, and we're going to copy it because if we delete it, Unity will be wondering where it's gone. So if you just drag it into the Unity window, it'll copy it. If you drag it into any other Windows folder on the same drive, it'll move it. So just be very careful about that. So now that we have that there, we want to open it in our favorite text editor. So that'll be Notepad for me. And what we need to do here is, so on the GitHub page, we go back to the main page of it and we'll see what he says to do. So we've already imported the package into our Unity project, and open up your apps manifest and add the following tag as a child of the application element. So what we do here is we have application here and we need to add it as a child. So we need to put it after this activity tag here. So we hit enter, and then you can copy or you can write it yourself, but it's going to end up the same way, same either way. So we just click this here, paste, and then we go back to his page, and what does he say? Add the following activity. So again, copy or paste, you're going to end up with the same thing. So we just copy that, hit enter, make sure it's aligned proper, and there we go. So we'll save this, and then we need to add 2 permissions. So because we're getting ads in real time, we obviously need the internet, and on Android you need to actually explicitly request permission of the user. So when they're downloading your app, you'll see it says this requires use of your internet and so on. So after application, so once the application bracket's closed, just put in both your permissions there, and we'll keep it tidy by lining them up and save it. So the one last thing you need to do here in your Android manifest is you need to find this line here, Unity Player forward native events to Dalvik, and then by default it says false. So you need to set this to true. Now what this does is if this was set to false or you didn't have this line, it'll show the ad, but anytime you click it, it's only Unity getting the input positions. So you're forwarding the input positions to the part of the app that's running the ads on Dalvik. So that's pretty much the app manifest done. So what we need to do now is we need to actually get our ads serving on the app. So what we're going to do here is we're going to write a small script just to get everything going. And this is not the way it's supposed to be done. This is just, we're going to click a button to show the ad, and we're going to click a button to hide it. So if we're using a game like Flappy Bird as example with their ads, what they do is they don't show you any ads until you die. And when you die, so when the game states game over equals true, show an ad. And then when you go back to playing the game, delete the ad, hide it. And then again, the process repeats itself. So when you're playing it, you don't see it. When it's game over, you do. So keep that in mind. You don't necessarily have to strictly follow this guide here. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add in a string, and it's going to be a private string because it contains sensitive information related to your account. So we'll just name it add unit ID equals, and for now it's going to equal blank because we haven't set up our add yet. And then we're going to also set up our AddMob plugin. So we imported the script, and there's a script here already called AddMob plugin, which basically acts as the controller for everything. So going to name it AddMob, and then we're going to put a boolean in just for good practice to make sure that if the ad is not hidden, then we can show it, because you have to be really careful when it comes to AdSense, in that if you have code where you're infinitely calling an ad to be shown, they could interpret that as you trying to elicit unwarranted views, and they could shut your account down. So you have to make sure your ad is only shown once at a time and not called infinitely, otherwise you get false impressions. So we're just going to say public bool for the sake of being able to see it in the editor and so on. Hidden, whoops, hidden equals true, because we're not going to have the ad showing right away. And then in awake, so this in one of my games, I basically have it so that this is basically the ad controller on top of this this script here. So we always have it running, and then we can just quickly decide when we want to show an ad and not. So we just say don't destroy and load this. So that means that this script will survive through scenes. You can load another level and this script will stay active all the time. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. And then in start, we're actually going to tell it what type of ad we want. Just set it up there and then. You can change this to change it on the go. But we're going to say AddMob equals get component AddMob plugin. So we're going to attach the other AddMob script to the same script that this is running on. If not, you tell it what game object it is running on, but there's no need to have it a different game object. So AddMob.create banner. And we're going to say the banner's string for the add unit ID is add unit ID. And we're going to tell it what size we want. So again, Android has its quirks, and everyone has a different size phone. It's even rare for me on a bus to see two people with the same Android phone, despite the fact that so many are so popular. So we're going to say smart banner, which should resize itself across screens fairly well. And we're going to say it's going to be on top, true. Otherwise, it'll be down the bottom. So we get that. And then we're going to request an ad. So AddMob.request ad. There we go. That's telling the AdSense servers, or the AddMob servers rather, to service an ad right away. And then we're going to hide our banner. So AddMob.hide banner. So what we've done here is we've told this script where to find the actual plugin script, which is the same game object we are on. We'll add that now in a second. We're telling our AddMob plugin to create a banner with our add unit ID, which we'll create again in a second. We're going to tell it what size it is, because again, not all Android devices created equal. So it's going to be a smart banner. It's going to automatically fit its horizontal width to whatever size the screen is. So if it's on a tablet, it'll stretch out a bit further, and if it's on a phone, it'll go a bit smaller, and it'll pick an ad for you based on the best size. And the boolean here at the end is whether or not we want to show the ad on the top of the app or on the bottom of the screen. So then the next line, we're saying, okay, we've set up this, we've inputted our ad unit and what size we want, request the ad from AddMob servers, and then we get the ad and we hide it because we don't want to show it straight away. You can if you want to, but it's probably best practice not to bombard your users with ads immediately. What we're going to do now is we're going to actually add in the button controls. So it's as simple as this. Again, I'm going to put in the boolean just because I find I'd rather be safe than sorry with showing my ads. So we're going to say if hidden, if hidden, AdMob dot show banner, and then we're going to say hidden is false. Not the best way to code it, I know. And then we're going to say if not hidden, AdMob dot hide banner. Oops. Getting used to new keyboard, folks. Sorry. Hidden equals true. Simple as that. Should work. And then we can test this out now. Actually, first what we need to do is we need to get our add unit ID. So to do that, you need to go to, I just type in apps.admob.home rather. So, and then once you create an AdMob account and you go to apps.admob.com, you'll see this button here, monetize a new app. And you can search for your app if it's already on the Google Play Store. So we can type it in here. It'll search, and none of these belong to me. So we'll just add our app manually for now. So we'll say test AdMob, and we'll say it's on Android. Add the app. And we're going to select an ad format and name the ad unit. So we haven't done any code for the interstitial ad yet, but we can do that in a second. We could say banner, and then you have a few options here. So automatic refresh, you can tell it not to refresh, so it'll remain the same ad that it gets picked at the start, which you might not see or you might not know, could be anything. Or you can refresh the ad every 60 seconds or between 30 and 120. So games are kind of fast paced. So like that, again, using Flappy Bird as an example, on the game over screen, within 10 seconds, the user usually presses play and the ad disappears. So it's probably a good idea. Again, the faster this updates, the more data it uses of your users, and it'll use slightly more battery. So if you want to get the most ads on there, you can hit in 30 if you want, or you can put it on longer. So it's up to you kind of to figure that out. So the text style is standard. Should be showing an ad here. I don't know why it's not. I don't have ad blocker installed. And then just for you to know, we're going to call this. So this is something you can remember. So we could say Flappy Bird game over screen banner and hit save. And then simple as that, there's your ad unit ID. So we can copy that, paste it in here, and then it'll create our ad with that string. So it knows exactly what to call for. So we can test that out now. And actually what we need to do now is, so on the main camera, we have our script with that we were just writing in. So you can name it whatever you want. You drag it on, but we also need to have the AdMob plugin script. So this one here. So now we have the AdMob plugin script on the same game object, and on start, we'll get that component. So we can just test it out, make sure everything looks fine. Show ad, show interstitial, save, and we're going to build it out, and we'll switch over to the phone now. So here's what this scene built out looks like on a tablet this time. So like I was saying, you just click the button to show the ad. It should send, we've already requested it on start and we've hidden it immediately. So if we click show ad, whoops, there you go, ad on top, it picks a random ad. There's no way, you can choose what ads you want to ban from ever showing up on your thing. Like, so if it's a kid's game, you obviously don't want gambling ads and so on. That's all done through the AdMob website. And so yeah, click hide ad, it's gone, show ad, back, hide ad, gone, show ad. And again, every 30 seconds, this ad should refresh and change to something different. Okay, so if you want to get an interstitial ad loaded, it requires a little bit more tinkering. So we're going to run through the process here now. So we need to add a new ad ID. So private const string enter, keep it the format, interstitial ID equals, and we'll get that now actually. So go to AdMob, monetize, add our app again. So test AdMob. It's on Android. and we're going to select an ad format and name the ad unit. So we're going to make an interstitial ad. And interstitial ads have timeouts, so we can tell it how long to display the ad. However, I think our code will override that. So like that, we can say test admob interstitial, save, and we'll immediately get an app unit ID. We copy that and we can paste it. Oh, no, wrong one. Whoops. You have to be careful where you're copying and pasting stuff. So that's our string now. And so in order to get the interstitial ad created, you need to basically just add it to the end of your current create banner. So it just looks for the ID. If you hover over it, you'll see we get the banner unit ID, we get the banner size and its position, and then we can also add in an interstitial ID. So what we do now is we, in our show interstitial button, again, doesn't have to be a button, it could be on game over, show interstitial. So here we type in admob dot request interstitial. And that's it. But then in order to actually show the interstitial, what we need to do here is in our admob plugin script, there's a delegate for whenever we request the interstitial. When the interstitial is provided to us, it calls a delegate. So we need to provide functions that to handle the delegate called. So we'll just say public void on enable. Oops. Sorry, that should not be in there. So we'll say underneath on GUI altogether. We'll say public void on enable. Admob plugin dot interstitial loaded. So when the interstitial gets loaded, it calls this action plus equals handle interstitial loaded. We end the line, and then we copy this for sake of time, and we say on disable. And we change this to a minus, and then we actually give the function for handle interstitial. So we say public void handle interstitial loaded. And then we just type in admob dot show interstitial, and that's it. So quick run through what we just did. We made a string for our interstitial ad ID. At the end of our create banner, we added in the interstitial ID, so it's going to request both ads basically. And then for our button, so when we want to show the interstitial, instead of saying show interstitial, we request the interstitial. And then when our interstitial is actually loaded and like basically has arrived to the phone or the tablet or whoever is playing it, there's a delegate in the admob plugin that will be fired when the interstitial is loaded, and we're telling our controller that when the interstitial is loaded, listen out for this delegate and admob show interstitial, and then the same thing for disable. So we'll save this and we'll test it out now. Save, build. So here's our app now with the interstitial code. So we just test it out. There's our ad, hide the ad, and now we're going to click show interstitial. So again, we click the button, it requests the interstitial. Once the interstitial is loaded, our admob plugin receives an action basically and passes on the delegate. So we click show interstitial and it takes a second to load, and then there's your full page ad. I would rather not like to see these in my games, but that's how you do them anyway. I think they're kind of gross. Let me click the X out of that, and there you go. Simple.
examples.